So recently I had talked about some items around accessibility, and with all of the conversations around job markets and getting jobs and all of that, uh I feel like one thing that I don't know how frequently it's really talked about, but one item I've seen is there is something of a, I don't know, quote unquote, lack of like accessibility within the interview process, because of the fact that there are just so many different types of people out there with different levels of like um capacities for communication styles and or like how they can best show their capabilities. Um, it's interesting how in the interview process, it's still pretty much the same as it's been, at least since I've been interviewing. There might be like some little tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it really hasn't changed in terms of like going into a video call or recorded video or whatever it might be, and uh answering questions, talking about thing like there isn't really much that's changed. I mean, getting assignments and other things, like it's pretty much been the same for the most part. And that then makes me wonder about um like why have we not made this process more inclusive, uh providing ways for people to better like showcase what they're capable of. um and I mean, if you were to, ask somebody what would be your ideal interview, I'm sure a lot of people would probably say they don't want to have to do an interview, really. Uh, I know I'm not personally a fan of them. I'd much rather like have a problem and sit down and just like talk through it with people and like work on something together. I think that would probably be my preferred um preferred style. I'm not really a fan of the just like, all right, do something and then we're just gonna watch. I guess I'm more in favor of like collaborative experiences. And then even then it's like the whole interview process, it is most likely unlikely that you will even hear anything back about like, this is what we think you did well and this is where we think you could improve. And it's like, that would be really helpful information to grow from, but like if everything is shrouded in secrecy, like how can anyone even know what right or wrong is? I mean, people who have interviewed others could provide more information on that, and I'm sure there's, thousands of videos out there of top 10 tips for the interview process or whatever. Or as an interviewer, this is what, but it's like because of the fact that it's so fragmented in terms of like how interviews are executed and how um people perceive your interview, because like that's also another aspect, is like 10 people could give the same answer, and the interviewers could come away with completely different understandings or completely different feelings on the person, especially, taking into account if you were to start going into like, how did they say it? What was their inflection? How rehearsed did it sound? Did they stumble? Are they nervous? Um, did they look like they were just like reciting something off of like a script? Did they look distracted? Like there's all sorts of things that could be looked at in either a positive or negative way. And so like the whole interview process just seems outdated. I think the word might be antiquated. I'm not sure about that. I don't think I've ever really used that word, but um yeah, it just the interview process as a whole is pretty dated. And sure, we've thrown like new technologies at it, but those haven't really changed it at all. I think one of my least favorite parts of the interview process that I've seen is effectively like an aptitude test, or like it feels very very mm, questionable in terms of like the science around that stuff, and like what does that even mean in terms of like how does like clicking a button or clicking a sequence of numbers, or like those uh types of tests, like that that tells you nothing, at least in my mind, about the capacities of an individual in their ability to like work as a team, answer questions, uh be responsible for like executing their task. It's like, how that doesn't tell you anything. So it's very questionable. And then people, the advertising and selling of it to like companies is like, this will get you the highest quality candidates, and it's like, I highly doubt that there's any uh it, it, yeah, I highly doubt it. I People are way too nuanced that I mean the your job is not doing that stuff, so how is that even communicating anything to anyone useful? If anything, it's just new ways to like segregate, and it's like just ridiculous. So more we need more ways to like build people up and let them know like the things they're doing right in from your perspective. um or we need a better, more like flexible interviewing process to allow candidates to like show what they're capable of. Obviously there is some element of like both sides have incentives to want to do the best they can or to present themselves the best they can. So it's like there's an immediate incentive that some people, will do what they need to do to look the best, whether that's true, honest, whatever. But it's like there is an incentive there. So by trying to like better get the information you need in like yeah, I mean, I don't even have the right answer, or but I definitely think about it a lot in terms of just like the potential in inequality in that whole process.